Now, what about this Trump firing on all barrels now, and Starmer in Washington, and should he get tough with Trump? 020-7862-2222 is the number. I would love to hear from you on this. The two are expected to meet in the US today. Last night, Starmer told reporters he still trusts Trump and wants the special relationship to go from strength to strength. You can see our new ambassador at his left shoulder there, Peter Mandelson. There are some issues which are sure to be tricky territory. And we should look at this whole thing, the dynamic really, and this question, should Starmer call out Trump? There we are. Because this might not work. Because Trump is a giant at the moment on the world stage. Starmer might be dwarfed by the mighty Trump. Who knows? That's a danger. It may be more evenly matched. Maybe Starmer can give him a talking to and Trump will listen. Or possibly he can breathe fire on him and he can force Trump to change in the way he wants to. It doesn't seem very likely, but at least it's a possibility, isn't it? The question is this: what does he, Starmer, call Trump out for? What are the issues? And when you look at the White House, you think of the two of them inside it meeting. Actually, check out the windows here. There's quite a few choices. So if we go in... Zelensky's number one. Can he say to Trump, you shouldn't have called this man a dictator? As Kevin said, he's been elected. He's fighting for the survival of his nation. Be kinder. What about... the famous video that Trump put out yesterday called Trump Gaza, where he showed a golden statue of himself in Gaza and a Riviera. He could say, look, at least don't make it your pinned tweet anymore on Truth Social. He could say to Trump, can you stop saying, drill, baby, drill? Because actually we have a climate crisis. Oh, and the Chagos Islands is another area where America aren't really helping us, and we may need a bit of assistance from Trump there. So he could call him out on that as well. And that's not all. There's more. Another window. Let's see. We've got, yes, of course, we have. There he is. Putin. He could say to Trump, you've got to stop treating this guy as if he's a normal politician. He's not. He wants conquest. And there's others. There are so many here, in fact, that Starmer could have a full belting half-hour argument, because Trump has just said yesterday he's putting 25% tariffs on the EU. That may include us. We don't know. So you can see you've got Zelensky, drilling, Chagos, Putin, tariffs, and the dreadful video yesterday. My goodness. Now, Annabel, could Starmer do it? Could he say, right, sit there, Mr. President, and listen to me?
Well, there's could Starmer do it, to which the answer is no, and there should Starmer do it, to which the answer is also no. Look, Keir Starmer is walking a tightrope when he goes to Washington. His key objective needs to be to get some kind of security guarantees from the US, some kind of guarantees that it isn't going to pull out of NATO, that Article 5 isn't dead, that the US would come to Europe's aid if one of the NATO members were to be attacked by Putin. He's going to warn Donald Trump that Putin will strike again if America continues with this apparent retreat. And how does he achieve that? Well, what he really needs to do, and I can't quite believe I'm saying this, is mirror what Macron did at the start of the week, which is, some deference, perhaps some subtle pushback. You're absolutely right. Kevin is absolutely right. Some of the rhetoric has been appalling from Donald Trump, likening Zelensky to a dictator, clearly forgetting that Winston Churchill didn't hold elections between 1939 and 1945 because there's a war going on. Zelensky, of course, has subsequently said that he will step down as president. Now, how does Keir Starmer perhaps try to achieve his goal of getting Trump's team to take him seriously? Well, look, he can't talk about decimal points. It's very encouraging that the Labour Party have increased defence spending to 2.5%. That's not the kind of thing that's going to resonate with Donald Trump. We're spending 4 to 5% of GDP on defence during the Cold War. So I think what he needs, again, like what Macron did at the start of the week with that nuclear umbrella, even if it's behind closed doors, it's the private conversations, he needs to make some kind of bold commitment that is going to get Donald Trump to take him seriously.
There may be something a bit more abrasive, Kevin, do you think?
Look, if you simper and shake and beg in front of a bully, the bully will bully you more. I mean, that's just a truth of life. And you've got a bully in the White House. I think it's demeaning the way the Prime Minister and the Foreign Secretary, David Lammy, and the Defence Secretary, John Healey, bite their tongues and try not to criticise a bloke who is clearly unhinged and is now a hostile leader. The US is supposed to be an ally. It's not any more. And I'm afraid...
Before you go on, let me just on this one point, Kevin, I want to ask you, we'll play a bit of this Trump-Gaza video. Now, a lot of people were very, very offended by this. And Yasmin on the programme yesterday, Yasmin Annabel Brown, was almost in tears. He could raise that, couldn't he? Because Trump can't really... What is Trump going to say if he raised that, Kevin?
Yeah, he didn't make it, but he circulated, and he clearly likes it. I mean, you're dealing with somebody who's like a man toddler, and it's very, very difficult to know. But you can say, look, don't you realise the offence you're giving? There's 47,000 people being killed. There were 1,200 Israelis killed in the pogrom. There are still hostages and bodies in Gaza, and you're thinking of turning it into your Trump resort, and you want to evict 2 million people. I thought you were against refugees and migrants moving in. You want to create 2 million...
Would that go down if you started with the Trump video? Because that's an open goal for Starmer, isn't it? You say, look, a lot of people are upset by that. Take it off your pinned tweet. At least try and make it disappear off your feed.
I would be amazed, Jeremy, if Keir Starmer brings up that Gaza video. As Kevin has said, it was something that was made even before Trump was elected. He clearly thought it would be amusing to post it on his Truth social platform. I think the reason that he did it... It's
so
bad taste. It's terribly bad taste. Of course it is. But I think he's trying to show the world that he's capable of laughing at himself. I'm not sure he's achieved that, and that this is the right subject on which to try and have to do that. But I would just find my final point, if I may, is just that what Donald Trump is trying to do in the Middle East is force the countries there to come up with a viable solution. Right. Because what we can't have is simply a return to October the 6th.
It's worse than that.
But not just the Middle East. What about Putin? Where does he go in first? He's got to push back on something, hasn't he?
He has, but look, he's going to go in. He's going to do what Annabel says he'll do. He'll go in and flatter him and cajole him. He'll ignore the herd of elephants in the room, including that video. And on Putin, he will have to attempt to explain, as you would to a troublesome child, how it was Putin who was the dictator, not Zelensky, and it was Russia that invaded Ukraine unprovoked, not the other way around. And he'll try and talk him around. Britain cutting its aid budget by £6 billion to increase defence spending to impress Trump won't make us any safer. It'll probably make us less safe because that spending abroad would keep people in their countries when those countries have got big economic problems. Now you'll get more migration, more instability. Yeah. But it really, really, really gets me. When you wanted to back Brexit, you were talking about take back control. Well, giving up control now and behaving as if we're the 51st state of the US.
Let's go to David in Surrey. What do you think Starmer should say or do with Trump, David?
He has to be very tough. Basically, Putin's strategy is to weaken the opposition by actually getting people to break up. Hence, Brexit, we were now separated from the EU, but we are also part of NATO. Without the backdrop, we are not strong enough to stand up to Putin. Musk, Trump and Putin are all world dictators, one being economic and one being, shall we say, a man who likes power. What we need is to realise what the truth is and also what AI is going to be right now and in the future. Bezos has now changed the Washington Post because he's scared of losing government contracts from Trump. Musk...
I've started subscribing to the Washington Post. Maybe I should stop. What's he done?
He's had to narrow one of the columns in the front page or something where anyone who stands up to what Trump and Musk are doing is going to, lose out money-wise.
Right. Well, that's my subscription over. Thank you. I'll go and cancel it now. All right, after the break, we're taking more of your calls on whether Starmer should get tough with Trump. Is it possible to say to him, listen, you've got to listen on these two or three things, that's all. What would you choose? Now we're going back to whether Starmer should get tough with Trump. But you can imagine the scene. It will be difficult, but that's his job. That's what he's paid to do, right? Christine in Hampshire, how would you play it if you were Sir Keir?
Oh, hi, Jeremy. I don't think he should have gone myself, to be honest with you.
Well, it's quite a... FaceTime...
America...
FaceTime's precious, isn't it? I mean, to be in the room, even if you're cross with Trump.
I mean, America says jump and we say how high. I just think that Keir Starmer is... he wants to hang on to America's coattails like we've always done. America, we're just a base to America, aren't we? And now Starmer, is kowtowing kind of thing to one of the most debased countries in the world, in my opinion.
Well,
surely and we've already upping our spending on defence, they call it defence, but it's just weapons of mass destruction. I just think Starmer, he wants his moment of glory, like Tony Blair did with Iraq. He did what Bush wanted and went into Iraq. It's about time we stood more on our own 2 feet and,
okay.
instead of...
All right. Got it.
Sorry.
Thank you, Christy, so much. The one thing that I think that the word has been used by Starmer is backstop. They can't ask America to put lots of money into Ukraine because Trump won't. He's trying to say you need to be a backstop. So if everything caves in, America joins the fray. I don't know if he'll get that. Jean in Glasgow, what should he say to Trump?
Hello, hi, morning, Jeremy. Hi, Kevin, the rest
Annabel.
of the panel.
Yeah.
Hi, I definitely think Starmer should get tough with Trump. I can't honestly believe Trump's reaction to the whole situation in Ukraine. And also, Trump seems to be conveniently forgetting about the fact that they signed that paper, the US, for Ukraine to give up its nuclear weapons. Also, what I've been thinking about quite a lot recently is the fact about all the children that have been taken from Ukraine to Russia. I don't hear much mention about that either.
I've seen a lot of that, almost like an abduction, yeah. And they'll be brought up as Russians, I guess.
Yes, and I believe there's a documentary coming on TV, actually by some female director that said she felt she had to get the information out there about what the true story was.
This thing about saying to Ukraine, you need to give us our minerals, sounds a little bit like you're walking down the street, Jean. You see your neighbour's house is on fire, and you say, you've got some. I saw you had some nice porcelain in there. I wondered if you wanted to get rid of it."
Yeah, well, that's really what angers me as well, because I feel as if Trump's just going in there and raping the country.
Well,
and he's forgetting about all the atrocities that have been committed in Ukraine.
Let's see. I mean, maybe there's something in it for Zelensky. Thank you very much, indeed. Maybe Zelensky can play this somehow. I don't know. If the big one is Zelensky this week, isn't it? The Starmer is small fry compared to that meeting because Zelensky's going to have to get in. He said last night, we have to have security in return for the minerals. Eleanor in West Yorkshire, what do you think Starmer should do in there?
Well, Starmer is a solicitor. That's all he knows.
A solicitor?
Twister.
Oh, Twister.
Yeah, he's a lawyer, and he just goes in the law part of it. He doesn't...
No, I got you.
He's not a strong prime minister or anything.
Well, okay, let's say you're his right hand. Oh, it's a right hand man now. It's Morgan McSweeney who got it. That's his name, isn't it? Who got rid of old Sue Gray. So you're Morgan, and you say to Starmer, right, listen to me. When you go in there, don't laugh, don't make jokes, start serious. What about that, Eleanor?
It's not basically all that how you go in, but he needs to be a strong prime minister, and he isn't. You know, the only thing that sticks in my head with him is where he turned around and said, because of his wife and that, he stops work at 6 o'clock. I can't get that out of my head.
Yeah, I think
he stopped work. Starmer stops on a Friday.
Yeah, I think that's what you're referring to, Eleanor. He tries to see his family on a Friday. Well, he won't now, but I don't think that's a reason to criticise him. If you were going, Eleanor, what would you say to Trump, and how would you say it? Would you go in banging the table and pointing the finger and saying, "You've got to stop this"? Or would you go in, "Oh, Donald, you won a great election, but..."
No, I'd find out the details first, you know?
Well, he will have.
How has it come to that he's getting the minerals? How has it come across to that? What has he said to Russia? What deals has he made with them? I'd find out the information.
Well, he will have.
Rather than going in and...
No, but he will have.
Hammering everything.
He will have done that. He will be absolutely briefed up to the eyeballs. He's spoken to Emmanuel Macron, the French president, who went in earlier. Will be playing a game, and Macron presumably says, "Say this, but don't say that," because of the way he reacts.
Well,
he will go in. He will go in briefed.
Then we might be backing him a bit more. At the minute, he doesn't tell us anything.
He's got, I mean, thank you, Eleanor. One thing that's happened here, and there's so much going on from Trump, it could almost get lost in the news, is that Trump said yesterday, we're putting 25% on all European imports from the EU. And someone said, a reporter said, what happens if they retaliate? And he said they can't do a thing about it. Now, it's starting to look like Brexit was a good idea if they're going to get smashed up by Trump, doesn't it?
The hope absolutely has to be that we are not going to have 25% tariffs slapped
Isn't that where Starmer's got to start,
UK exports to the US. Well, I suspect that this is going to be more of a defence discussion than it is an economic one, especially as at the moment we are managing to navigate this reasonably unscathed. I think it's extraordinary that if you were to look at the front pages of today's papers, 25% tariffs probably doesn't even make it onto most of them. Such is the speed at which Donald Trump is breaking things and not seeming to give much consideration to the consequences. But this will be a major blow for EU economies, for pharmaceutical companies, for high-tech companies, for those really big exporters into the US.
And if you're Starmer, you could quietly say to Trump, look, it's brilliant. Well done. Go. They've caused us all this trouble. All the French have sent all the boats over this way. Go in and just give them the knuckle dusters and leave us out of it.
Well, our steel's going to be hit with tariffs, and you have to retaliate. Look, I think if Trump thinks he's a deal maker, you've got to fight back. That's what you have to say. You can't just bash us, and we won't hit back. But he just says stupid things. Look, he was going to impose tariffs on Canada and Mexico. Then he backed off. They may yet return, because he will have so many business people in the States saying this is madness. Because we export to Europe. You're going to get tariffs against us. We're going to be
The bark is worse than the bite. That's true. John is in Nottinghamshire. What do you think Starmer needs to say? Maybe he should flatter him, John.
I think it's completely waste of time, Starmer, trying to flatter him. The man's got no interest in what anyone's got to say. We hear a lot about a special relationship between us and America. Well, we did used to have a special relationship with us and America, but this is Trump, not America. The only person he's interested in a special relationship is with himself.
Well, he was elected for a reason.
What anyone says.
Yeah.
As regards to the situation in Ukraine, it's time that we stood up to him, that Europe got together. If this deal's on the table with all these valuable trillions of rare earth minerals, then why doesn't the UK get all its allies in Europe and say, right, we'll do this deal with you, and in return, we'll guarantee the safety, and the money we make out of this deal will be enough to reinforce our armies so we can come in and give you the protection you need.
We gazump Trump.
Why don't...
Yeah, we gazump him on the rare earth.
All we're going to do by going over and talking to Trump is just validate what he says, because no one will stand up to him. This is the main opportunity that now that we've got to say, no, you're wrong.
All right.
You want all this valuable commodities for your billionaire backers, but you're not having it.
John, thank you very much. Thank you for all the calls on this. Thanks, John. We've got to move on, and it's that time 5 to 10. We have to just hit our break on time. I'm so sorry.